In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix the problem of the dryer belt in a Maytag dryer from perpetually falling off. You might run your dryer for a few minutes, clung, and the darn thing falls off, and the drum stops spinning. There's an actual defect in the design that Maytag put into the frame where the idle pulley and the bracket hold that actually causes that thing to wear out, and it falls out over time. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a permanent repair on that defect. The first thing you're going to need to do is take apart the front of the dryer. But before you do that, make sure the dryer is unplugged. This is incredibly important because you're dealing with live hot wires in here, and if you accidentally turn this thing on, you do like your fingers, right? So I have already taken off the door. So let me jimmy this thing off here. And all you do is take a couple of, make sure this doesn't fall over, a couple of the screws. When you open this door, you can see the screw holes here and here. There's a couple screws that we took off here and here, and then on the hinge there and there. And now we make sure to put them in the baggie because it is so easy to lose a screw, and you might drop it inside the dryer and have a bad time. The next thing that you do is you simply pull off this front fascia and lift it very gently off of these little tabs, and then you put this to the side. All right. And then once we get these off, you need to take a couple of screws off. You'll see these different screws here, and really all you need to do is loosen and take off this one, these steel brackets, and the same on the opposite sides. You don't actually have to take this screw off and these two that hold this assembly together. If you do, you end up having to put this face back together, and that's a real production. Also, when you take these off, these little brackets are what prevent the lid from coming off. There's no way to take this lid off until you get these brackets off. And once you get those brackets off, the lid will lift up. There are some little plastic tabs in there. Don't try and lift the lid without undoing this. You will break them, and then the dryer won't align. And once you tear this whole assembly off and you get all these screws out, you carefully pull this to the side, and you'll have this whole thing open, and then you simply lift the dryer drum out, being cautious of that belt in there. The reason your belt probably keeps slipping off is this idler pulley here has a little bushing, and this bushing is held by a screw. Now, this screw is a sheet metal screw. Oops, kind of dark and awkward here, but you'll get the idea. So this sheet metal screw screws into the frame that holds the motor of the dryer, and I'll show you that in a moment. And what happens over time is this pulley is supposed to only move up and down, that sheet metal screw, the hole wears out, and now this pulley, instead of just going up and down, pushes left and right, and that causes the belt that should just go right on the pulley. It actually, as this waggles back and forth, the armature waggles so far that the belt pops off. So even though you get a new belt and new wheels back here, this armature actually gets loose, and it causes the belt to pop off no matter what. What you'll see down here is the idler pulley. This is the armature that moves up and down, and you'll see this screw. And as this armature goes up and down, this screw starts to wobble. Oops. This is not easy, folks. Trust me. The screw starts to wobble, and eventually it just literally strips itself out. So this hole here, where the screw goes in, see if I can get a better view. Sorry. See that hole there that the screw goes in? The screw just eventually works its way out where it just falls out. So what the fix is here is to replace this, whatever it is, cheap sheet metal screw with a machine screw, and the magic creme de la creme, a nylon locking washer, and a couple of regular washers, or sorry, a nylon locking nut, not a washer, and a couple of washers. And now what this will do is once I put this machine screw in here and I put the nylon locker on there, I'll tighten it up so it's just tension a little bit, so the idler pulley and arm goes up and down, but it doesn't waggle back and forth. And how you do that is I got, for this particular model, a number 10 32 screw that's 3/4 of an inch long. That's more than adequate. And I'm using a 3/16 inch drill. I'll put my goggles back on. And we're going to drill that hole out. So, wherever it is, this number 10 screw here fits in the hole and it goes freely. And number 12 is too big for that bushing. So I'm going to show you drilling it out, just real careful. We're going to vacuum clean this up and get this all set up. And all I'm going to do is put the drill in here. Just drill that hole out. Just enough. And no more than that, because you don't want to waggle around any more than it already does. And now you will see that this number 10 screw fits into the hole perfectly. And now the whole thing will work correctly. Now that I put the hole in the frame for the motor, I'm going to show you the stack up with this number 10 screw, the bushing from the armature on the idler pulley, and then I'm going to put a washer on the inside of the frame. And I'm showing this now because there's no way to get a camera in there. And I screw this nylon nut on here, and you can see the stack up. So I've got nylon nut, washer, the blank space where my finger is the frame that holds the motor, then the bushing where the idler pulley goes in, and then my number 10-32 thread screw. And this all just assembles very neatly here, kind of like that. And that will prevent this ever from rocking out again. Got the screw and the bushing, and that will go through the hole here. And make sure there's some grease on here. The grease is important. Okay. And now that this is in, I'm going to put my washer and my nylon locking nut behind. Okay, get that in there. Okay, and all you have to do is get that started and then you're set. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna pick the camera up. Now that the opening wrench is on the nut, which you can see there, I simply get the screwdriver and begin screwing this. Now I'm gonna set the camera down so I can wrench this down correctly, and I will show you the finished result. So you can see the machine screw in the bushing. And then, back here, you can see way in there the nut, and it sticks out. That's a 1 inch or 3/4 or whatever nut. I'll put a link below. And now the idler pulley still waggles because that bushing prevents the screw from ever over tightening. So this totally waggles free. Cool. Alrighty, now that I've got the armature assembly of the idler pulley set, I'm going to show you how to put this back together. It is a bit of a trick. Now that I've got the tensioner and the armature and everything with the idler pulley, I'm going to put this back together. You got to make sure that when you put the belt on, the ribs are against the drum. You can see this belt's actually shearing. I need to replace the belt, but that's another story. All right, so I've got this drum installed and I've bolted the frame in here so that the drum supports. But one of the challenges is that if you come and look in here, I'll show you. And now you can see as I'm rotating the drum, that belt walks a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't walk off. And I can see that belt wander around. Whoa. Hopefully it doesn't walk off. Let me rotate the other way. Okay, I think we're good. And that is how you repair the idler pulley armature with a little bushing where it wears out. It's I would say a cheapness or defect in the design. Maytag's generally super solid, but that one, that will get you. Hopefully you found this video useful to figure out that design. Again, be very careful. As you can see, it's best to wear gloves so you don't hack your hand open on this sheet metal. Do be careful, that motor is powerful. You've got live electric power here. Be cautious, be slow. If you're not confident in doing this, call a professional, because you can see it's a little bit challenging, but if you can get through it, you can save yourself a bundle of money and make a permanent repair so that thing doesn't keep, the belt doesn't keep falling off the idler, pulley, and banging and breaking screws. My name is Aaron Linsdow. I'm a professional adventurer, sometimes handyman, and oddly enough, a polar explorer. Check out the links below. Please like and comment on the video, and if you found it useful, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy your dryer.